All right, hello, rockers, rollers, and rebels. It's the Meista from Brews and Tunes. Cheers. Very excited today. I am chatting with an amazing bass player and vocalist from here in my neck of the woods, here in from Salt Lake City, the band WEY. I'm talking to Spock. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Great, great. I got a frosty brew. I'm talking to a killer musician. Things couldn't be better. I'm excited. So. So first off, well, one, I need to thank you for the record, but also congratulate you on, and I know it's been out since October, but the latest Way record, right? I've got a copy right here. Phenomenal album. I've been listening to this nonstop. Uh, and hopefully I pronounce this. It's Poultice Route, right? Did I pronounce that correctly?
Is it Poultice?
Poultice, yeah, Poultice, yeah, I guess Poultice Route. So,
Poultice Route, yeah.
yeah, which I love especially with the album cover, and I know it's kind of hard to read from here, but with all the symbols and the sayings and what that actually means, the route, I had to look it up, which is a fascinating story about, I guess basically it was hobos in like the 30s riding the train, and that route that meant it was a safe route, and or you could get food, right? And uh
Correct.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
very cool. So tell me the origin of that. Like, I was really curious about that, as in terms of like kind of your fascination with that and how that came about.
All right. So my brother Tito, um, he got me into music. He's one of the best big brothers you could ever have. Got me playing in one of his bands when I was 13, 14 years old. Um, Taught me a ton of stuff. Always giving me good music. Got me into like all kinds of cool music. Wow, right off the bat, it was like, and I know he bought these for himself. He gives me the New York Dolls, two albums of theirs for a Christmas present.
Oh, wow.
What's this all about? And I'm like looking at him like, you got this for yourself. But I was in. I was in. So we were listening to that. And then he, picks up what was our gateway stuff? Elvis Costello, Graham Parker, Nick Lowe, Devo, and then finally he picked up the Clash's first album.
Oh, nice.
Like, oh, punk rock. Whoa, what's this? Is this gonna be scary? Right? So good. And then the Sex Pistols, and then just on and on. And so he was a real guiding light for me through many years of stuff. In high school, um, he says, here, I want you to read these books, but first you have to read about the Russian Revolution. So here's a book on that. And then he gives me Animal Farm. You have to read it in order. Animal Farm, 1984, Brave New World. And I was like, oh, this, you couldn't ask for a bigger brother.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So he recently, like, well, not recently, but a few years back, for I don't know, his birthday or Christmas, or it was a present. But I get this book, Jack Black, You Can't Win, and he tell his little note that he signs in there, and it says, Bukowski loves this guy, and I'm a big Bukowski fan, and I'm like, okay, that's a good mark right there. Okay, and I start reading it, and the whole book is based here in the Ogden area,
Oh, wow.
Salt Lake area, um, Portland, Seattle, and Vancouver, and San Francisco, which I call home. I call that home. I grew up just outside of there, but
Cool.
moved into the city when I was a young person. Perhaps we'll talk about this later on. And I'm reading through the book, and he's a cat burglar. He's breaking into houses, and it's really intense about how he steals the money from underneath the pillows of people that are sleeping, and or finding the keys to get to the safe, or whatever. It's so intriguing. But there's a chapter in that where he talks about Southern Utah and how the Yegs, I think it's YEG, Yegs, which is, I think he's referring to like the hobos, you know, the train travelers. And that was a safe place for them to go in the springtime, spring and fall, because there would always be fresh food. They treated the travelers, you know, with respect. And that was the Poultice Route. And I had that in the back of my mind. And, you know, we do the whole album and stuff, and we're just talking, we're trying to figure out the cover and the title. And I got this idea, I want to call it the Poultice Route. You know? So I talked to Mike Sasich about this. You know, he's one of the guitar players and he's a producer. He's incredible person.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's good. But what should we do for a cover? And I had thought about this, and he said it. And this is what's great about like having people in your life that you can connect with, that have these thoughts that they're already aligned.
Yeah.
He says, we should have hobo symbols. I'm like, yeah, I've actually already been looking them up. So the cover of the album is all of these old original hobo signs telling each other like this is a safe place to get food or water, or watch out for the police, or bad dogs on the property, or all these things, you know.
Yeah.
So we ran with that idea.
Yeah, that's cool. And I love how you've intermixed those, like, you know, like safe passage here, good food, and then the song tracks, the titles are also kind of intermingled within those as well, which I thought was brilliant.
You're giving away the puzzle.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
There's no
I mean,
did you figure out the puzzle? Were you able to put it together?
Not yet. I'm working on it. I need, Oops.
Oh, it's all right. I mean, I can tell you this much. And I'm sure you were brought up in music the same way, where you put the needle down on the record, and you start looking at the cover and the insert.
Oh yeah.
The lyric sheets, and you know, usually they have lyric titles and you know where you're going. You got to do a little work to figure it all out for this album. You gotta look at the cover, you gotta look at the lyric sheets, and then you can start going, oh, that song is that song.
Yeah.
That song is called that by the symbols that are on the front of the album.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, it's great. It's just yeah, I have to say it's a phenomenal album. It's fantastic. I mean, it's one thing I love about it is, I mean, there's multiple layers to why I love this album. And yeah, we can definitely start peeling that onion back for sure. But I mean, one, just the songwriting alone is, I mean, you know, hats off to you. I know you're the main songwriter, correct?
Yes.
I know it's collaborative, but
yeah. So I got the melodies, I write the lyrics, I write the music, but the rest of the band, Trevor Goss on drums, Brian Kubarich on guitar, Mike Sasich on guitar, Anna Kennedy, who is just phenomenal. I mean, she's the secret sauce to this band, to have a co-lead singer.
Yeah.
And all of them in this mix to help bring these song ideas to life, you know, is just priceless, you know, to hear an idea that I had come to life, and then get in the studio and really start working it, and use the studio as a songwriting tool, and create as we're moving along. These friends of mine,
Nice.
I couldn't do this without them.
Yeah, you guys really have a great, unique sound, and it just, you know, both live and, you know, on the records, you guys just gel so well. I mean, it just seems so effortless. I know it's not, but it as a viewer, as a listener, it seems very effortless, the way you guys play together.
It is a lot of work, but when, we've been together now for, somebody said 9 years. Like, what, 9 years?
Well, yeah, your first album came out in 2017, right? So
Yeah, it's it's now, we just get along so well, and we just create this magic sound when we're all in the room together. You know, um, it can't be beat. I couldn't ask for anything better in my life.
yeah, great band. Yeah, really exciting band. And yeah, like I said, this new album is phenomenal. It's really, I definitely love the self-titled, your first album, which I've got a copy here as well, on vinyl. Yeah, great album too. I mean,
The untitled one.
what's that?
The untitled one.
Yeah, it's such a great album. Yeah, you guys just have it just flows so well too. I think that's the other thing is and I've been mentioning this a lot in interviews lately, but I've been on this shtick where, and some bands really get it, and I think you guys really get, like, sequencing, the sequencing of tracks. You guys put together, it's really well orchestrated, it's really well balanced. And I don't know if this is true or not, but it seems like you put a lot of thought into the sequencing of the tracks.
All right. On the first album, we were, of course, in discussion of what should the order be? What should the order be? And everybody was throwing out their ideas, and I threw out the list. That song was super personal to me. It's the first one, and I threw out the sequencing, and Mike said, "That's it," and we were like, "Cool, found it." All right. And then the second one, I go back to my brother. I had sent him all the tracks. I said, I don't even know what to do here. I don't even know how to start. I'm just too close to all the songs right now. And he came up with the sequencing.
Oh, interesting.
That's how Poultice Route got in the order that it is.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, he has a great ear, because I think it starts off so strong with Sunday Drive, and just, that journey began, which I thought was brilliant. That's a great song to start with, I think, and just kind of starts that whole journey, that sonic journey, which is great.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good start. Now, I believe I saw some photos on your Facebook page. You guys are already working on new material, right?
Yes, we are.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
Great.
So, a little backtrack here. In 2022, I was on a solo skate trip up in Montana, and I have a friend up there, Randy Caton, and his wife Donna, and they just live right outside of Missoula. And I like to go up and visit them on their ranch and hang out. There's all these incredible skate parks around there, all built by this company called Evergreen Skate Parks.
Oh, wow.
They're building one in Eagle Mountain right now. They're getting close to finishing it up, and they don't have one down here like they do up there, but now we will. All right, so I'm up there, and I'm going to go to the furthest away point down what they call the Bitterroot Valley to a skate park and work my way back up. There was a big bonfire barbecue that night back at the ranch, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go down. I'll hit all those parks, and I'll see you in the later afternoon. Okay. And I'm working my way back. I'm working my way down, and to be completely honest with everything here, I get a call from my ex-wife, and she's not being very friendly, and there's some disturbance going on with her. And then my daughter calls me, and she's just in tears, and there's this disturbance with her, and it's going back and forth, and they keep both calling me, and it's just getting really, really it's rubbing, it's hurting me a lot. It's hurting me a lot and really distracting. So I hit the first park, and I get the phone calls, and just get out of there. Work my way up to the next park, and the phone calls stop, and I have a really good time there. And then there's another park just before I get back up there. Well, not just before, but and it's only a mile off the road. And I've been there. I can skip this. It's only a mile. I go over there, and there's nobody there. It's just there's one teenage boy, and he's trying to work out something in the big bowl, trying to learn how to kick turn on the wall. And doing what I do, I just can't help myself. And I'm like, hey, let me coach you a little bit. He starts getting it. He's getting it. He's like, oh, thank you so much. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'm about to get out of here. So I decided to take a couple big laps through the big bowl. And my last big high grind on the coping, I come down, and I'm coming back up to the next rise, and I hit a pebble or something.
Oh, no.
And I like a fly swatter onto my left side with my arm up against my rib cage. Kind of hit my head at the same time. I open up my eyes, and I look up, and I see my arm completely pointing the wrong way.
Oh.
And I said, fuck. And I told my kid, I broke my arm, and I grab it, and it just sucks right back into place. I'm like, oh, maybe I just dislocated something. And I let go, and it just falls like dead meat. And I tell the kid, I'm like, look, man, I pull it back into place because the pain hasn't hit yet. And I'm going into shock, I can tell. It's like, hey, look, man, here's what's going to happen. You're going to call the fire department, or you're going to call 911. And you're going to help me out of these pads. You're going to help me out of this thing. Because when they get here, they're going to cut the pads off if you don't. And these things they're not cheap. These are high-end stuff.
Right.
Talking about, and I'm like, dude, I broke my fucking arm, and you need to get me up out of here. You need to call someone. I said, okay. So we walk out, go to a park bench, and gets my stuff off, and fire department shows up, ambulance shows up, and a couple of people walk over. And to jump ahead, emergency surgery in Missoula.
Oh, geez.
And they took x-rays, and I had completely shattered my humerus.
Oh, God.
Completely just shattered it. So they put me back together, and I got a bunch of metal in me, and and they got to get me out of there because it's COVID season. You can't stay. Everybody's got COVID here. I'm going to send you home. I wish you could stay. Find an orthopedic person when you get down there, and here's a prescription for like a ton of drugs. Okay. And then he said to me, and I'm just smiling. Like, okay. Because they shot me up with so much fentanyl during and after the surgery. It's like, by the way, I had to move your ulnar nerve to get stuff done, and your hand is going to be really pissed off for a while. I'm like, oh, okay, sounds good. So I get home, and it's some of the worst time of my life. I'm just, it's disaster. It's hand is swollen, it's black. It's just bad. And I find out what he meant. I couldn't use my left hand. I couldn't move my fingers correctly. I couldn't move them at all.
Oh, geez.
And it took me quite some time to get back. And this was during my divorce. So I'm living solo in my friend's basement in-law apartment. And I'm using my bassist therapy. And I'm just playing the simplest stuff that I can. And I start writing all of this material. So for the next year, I'm using that boomstick as a therapeutic tool and also writing songs. So I've got this whole backlog of material
Very cool.
that I'm currently showing them one piece at a time.
Nice.
And we're writing material kind of out of that situation. And a little bit after I've been healed up. You can tell the difference between what the early songs are, which are like
A little
really
darker.
cool, because it's like simplicity at its best. But there's words, there's lyrics to go along with it, and we're writing it together and coming up with bridges and all kinds of like new stuff to add to these ideas that are formative.
Nice.
This next stuff is going to be really collaborative, as opposed to the ones before. I pretty much wrote them out, but there's a lot of it. All the arrangement is working with them. That's what brings it to life.
Yeah. Cool.
You asked me, oh, I see you're writing new songs. Hey, here's where that's coming from.
That's really cool. That's really fascinating. I mean, I'm sorry it came from, that incident, but it's cool that, you're taking, it's taking a positive route for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
So how did you guys meet? How did WEY come to be?
Okay. We'll step back a little bit. We have to go back to Junta de Ville, actually, which is just before the Jingoes. Junta de Ville was with myself and Mark Dorwart, who's the nephew of Chris and Tina from Talking Heads.
Oh, nice.
We went through a whole bunch of drummers, and we started trying out drummers. And one of the people that tried out was Trevor Cross, but we didn't choose him. But I kept him in my Rolodex, as they say. And we moved into the Jingoes and brought Trevor on board. So it was Mark, Trevor, and I.
Okay.
And then with Junta de Ville, Sassage saw us. He was doing sound at 666 State, which was called at that time. I don't even remember what this place was called, but it's on 666 State Street. What a great address. It's changed names so many times.
Yeah, it has.
Like what's it called right now? The beat. I don't even know what it's called now.
The bistro. Or
somebody out there knows what this address is. And
yeah. I know it was Ichabod's at one time, right?
Ichabod's. We played it when it was called Ichabod's.
Okay, yeah.
And something else in the sentence. All right. So Mike recorded us as Junta de Ville, and then we got the Jingoes going, and said we got to bring Mike in on this, and he said, yeah. So Mike was a Jingo Mike. And we did a lot of record. We've always done all our recording with him at his various places, whether it started at his house and then a spot next to Rat Rod, Hot Rod, motorcycle place, Rat something, anyhow, which used to be right around the corner from my house. That was really nice. And then in his new studio. So we did the Jingoes for a while, and then that exploded, whatever you want to call it. And I decided that I'm going to turn my basement of my house into a practice area. So I completely redid my basement. And while I was doing that, I was upstairs on the deck porch of my house, writing songs on acoustic guitar. And I was bringing this back to basics and doing a lot of Chuck Berry kind of kind of with the pinky finger, writing songs that way, looking what's in my neighborhood and getting ideas for words and ideas that are in my head for songs. And I put together, I don't know, 10, I think maybe I had 10 ideas, right? And I called up Trevor, said, look, I want to start a new band. I don't have a name for it. I want you and I to start this thing. Can you start coming over to the house and fleshing these out with me? And he did. So we got this, 10 or so tracks figured out, recorded them on a on a cassette player, but one of those ones that from your audio visual class, it's like this big kind of like box thing. And we recorded it on that, all these ideas. And then how did I do this? I somehow made a copy of them. I forget how I did it. And I had in the back of my mind an old friend, Eli Morrison. And I said, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to send him these songs and see if he's interested in what we're doing. And I'd already talked to Mike about this. And I said, hey, Mike, I got this thing going. Cool. Might you be interested? And he's like, let me know when you get something together. Okay. And Eli, bless his heart, listened to all the songs, learned them, and texted me, I'm in, but just to let you know, all the songs are at least half a note tuned down. Out of tune. It's just bass and the drums and me singing. And I realized, because I didn't have a tuner, I would tune it off the piano upstairs and bring the bass downstairs and just keep retuning it afterwards. And so it dropped the whole level. So I'm like, oh, this guy's great. And he said, I have this idea. I want to play it open chord like Keith Richards, and I'm going to play a Telecaster. I want to approach it like that. Cool. So that was a whole new unique sound to add to it. So we got these songs together, and then we got together with Mike, showed them to him, and we cut that first album. One of the songs, one of the songs I felt, I played it for my then wife, and she said, that should be a duet. And I said, ooh, like with a woman, right? She's like, yeah. So I told the guys, bark. Oh, okay. Bark on the first album. Right?
Great song.
And I asked Mike and Eli, do you know anyone that would fit this bill? And they both looked at each other and almost said at the same time, Anna. I'm like, who's Anna? They're like, Anna Kennedy. I don't know who she is. She'd be perfect for this. You want to text her, give her a call, see if she's in? And they did, and she was like, yes. I never met her. She showed up in one of the sessions and said, well, here are the lyrics and here's how it goes. And I was thinking, I do this line. I sang all the lines, but like we're overdubbing now. Just do this first, I do this first, blah, blah, blah. And it was just sensational. I had no idea the talent that this woman had. It was just and I think she might have been in the recording booth or something. And I said, guys, I'd like her to sing on more songs. What do you think? They're like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. So we asked her, you want to try some more? And so she did. She laid down some more stuff. And, you know, let's not let the facts get in the way of a good story. At the end of that session, we asked her, like, do you want to be in this band? She was like, yes.
Nice. Nice.
So so that's where we got Anna. All right.
Very
so
cool.
Eli, Mike, Anna, Trevor, and myself. All right. And we started gigging a bunch and things were going great. And Eli decided he didn't want to play music anymore. He was dealing with things in his life that he was like, I need to step away. I need to step away. So he did. So we had a downtime. And I started thinking about people that I knew out there in the music community. And I thought of Brian, who I didn't even know. I was a Facebook friend. And I liked the pictures that he was putting up, and I saw that he played guitar. Oh, and we had played a show with, he was in a band, and we played at the Stateroom. The Jingoes headlined, and his band, I'll get back to it, and Terrence's band, TH.
Oh yeah, the Danger Hailstorm at the time, or
Hailstorm. Yeah. All right. Sorry, Brian. I'm drawing a blank right now on the name. You're going to hate me. But I saw him play at that show, so I knew he knew his chops. And I asked, checked in with Mike and said, "What do you think about this guy?" That could be very interesting. And I like it when somebody says that could be interesting.
Yeah.
That is not good. I mean, it just means that there's something going on that's mysterious, and I like that. So we asked him, I asked him if he'd be interested. And I was already working on new material for the second album. And there was a couple of leftovers that didn't make it on the first time because they just weren't written yet. That Eli helped out with. And we created the second album. And he was in. You know, we played some shows with him. So now it was Brian, Mike, Anna, Trevor, and myself. And that's the current line.
Yeah.
That's where we're at now.
And yeah, what a great lineup. That's the thing it's just, yeah, I said this earlier, it's just so cohesive. You guys just fit together so well, and like all elements too. It's I think, you and Anna vocally, those harmonies are excellent. I mean, just really cool.
The blending of our voices, I think, is incredible. We played some shows because sometimes things happen where a band member can't make it or something, and we have commitments, and we'll play the show nonetheless. And it's just not the same, And when she comes back in the fold, everything's for real. And we've decided that we're not doing any more shows ever without the full staff, without everybody there. We're not going to play that game anymore. Hence, it's hard to book gigs.
Yeah,
there's just a lot of busy people who can do this date. I can't. Oh, and it's always when you're waiting to hear back from everyone on the group text, like, okay, 4 out of 5, or 3 out of 5, we're almost there, and yeah, we're in. Or
so close.
so close. Yeah.
But I think, it's just, you guys just, work so well. Yeah, and I can't imagine not having one of those elements. Yeah, it would be odd. I would imagine it wouldn't sound. I mean, I'm sure you guys still sound great, but it wouldn't sound, especially if Anna's not there. It'd be just a different vibe for sure. Because I think that was really what, and again, I love the music love everything about the band, but I think that was the thing that initially grabbed me was you and Anna, the blending of your voices. That's what initially grabbed me the very first time I heard you. So, but then everything else, all the other elements. I mean, Michael Sasich is one of, if not the best guitar player in Salt Lake City. That guy's incredible.
That guy's got some stuff going on. That's for damn sure. Yeah.
Yeah, what amazing. And just so people know as well, you record in his studio, Man versus Music, which is a beautiful studio. I've been there a couple times, and what an amazing place. And he has such a great ear for music and production and mixing and mastering. And
But blessed to have met that guy so many years ago out of nowhere. Him just walking up to us from the sound booth after our set as Junta de Ville, which was we had keyboard player Clint Burfitt also with us. And I forget who was playing drums for that show, but he was just taken with us. Like, I want to record you guys. Like, what? Who are you? Sure. No, actually, we need to make some recordings. Okay, cool. Let's do this.
Nice.
So that was a treat to meet him.
Yeah, really good guy. Really good guy. I don't know him really well, but when I have talked to him, just down to earth, and he's such a good ear and such a master at what he does. Watching him at work is pretty fascinating.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit and go kind of in the Wayback Machine. So you talked about this already, but I wanted to delve into this maybe a little more. So, as far as you getting into music, you said it was your brother Tito. But I was curious about, like, as far as the actual, like, the bass, like how did you get into playing bass? Apart from, I know you mentioned he had a band and you played with him, like, when you're 13. Did you play an instrument in school? Did you what was your start there?
Okay. Growing up, my brother, my sister, my younger brother, myself, we were all like pushed into piano and organ lessons. All right. Because that's just what you did when you were like 5 and 6 years old. And then in elementary school, saxophone. And you got to pick an instrument. My dad had an office machine supply store, Balsto's office machines, back with typewriters and cash registers and ink and all, like, just all, no computer stuff, right?
Yeah.
And things kind of hit a weird time for him, and he split the store into a half music, half office machine supply store.
Interesting.
He had a alto sax. You're gonna learn how to play. You can play alto sax. I'm like, okay, I guess that's what I'm doing in the 4th grade. So I did that and traded up to tenor sax, and that was a lot of fun. That was easier to play. I like that. Ended up breaking my arm skateboarding at a young age. Oh, you see a theme here? And quit playing alto, or quit playing sax, which I was kind of happy about because I was just like already over school band stuff, more into skateboarding and really starting to get into music. My younger brother was playing bass in my brother's band. He's like 2 years younger than me, so he must have been 11 or something like that.
Wow.
And he wasn't really cutting it so well. And my brother asked me to play bass. I'm like, I don't know how to play bass. I don't know what this is about, So, actually, that's not exactly right yet. I found out that if I took music class in the 8th grade and pretended to play bass, I could get a grade. So I would go into the 8th grade music class, and my brother showed me how to play My Sharona, and I'd play My Sharona every day, all the time. And then I figured out that I probably should start learning something, because somebody's going to call me on my shit here pretty quick. So they had a bass, how to play bass book, like notes and all that stuff. And I already knew how to read music, so that was okay. And I just had to transfer it onto the bass. bass. So I figured that out, and then I was playing with this, the band at school. My brother had a Gibson grabber bass, and he asked me to play in his band because I was already playing. By that point, I was already playing in my own punk rock band, Carnage with a K.
Oh, nice.
And I wrote all the songs for that, and we're actually on the Not So Quiet on the Western Front compilation album that Alternative Tentacles put out in '83.
Oh yeah, cool.
Something. The Few, the Proud, the Dead. That's his first song on side 2.
Oh, nice.
anyhow, so he's in a power pop band, and he's doing a bunch of covers and a bunch of his own songs, like 30 to 40 songs, and I'm singing backup with him, and we're doing things like My Little Red Book, and just all kinds of like really fun, obscure kind of ish covers that kids should not be playing at the time in 1980 or whatever it is, 81, 82. Anyhow, I lose track of time. It's all such a blur.
I hear you.
So that's how I started. That's how I started playing bass, and then Carnage broke up, and my neighbor friend, she started learning how to play drums, Alicia Costello, and my other friend, Dan Harris. His dad was a Superior Court judge in Solano County.
Oh, nice.
And we used to practice at his house. Well, first we started in the garage because I heard them playing, and I wasn't in a band other than my brothers. I'm like that, and they're playing like they're into Joy Division and stuff. I'm like, not really punk, but okay. So we start getting together and creating like these jam type songs, and no lead singers or anything. And Dan and I really get into Public Image Limited, and we discover like, and I'm already into like dub music, so this is really fitting my taste. So we start doing all this like kind of artsy kind of music with no singing. We have no singers. None of us are brave enough to sing or anything. And then we get our friend Glenn Begley, who used to play guitar in Carnage, and he sings, and he's like, kind of the worst singer in the world, but like he's into it, and he's writing great lyrics. The guy that got the first Plastic Heart, he writes a song about that guy. And, it's just fun stuff. But we never really play out or anything. We played some parties or whatever. I moved to San Francisco, and that band, Glenn's no longer singing with us. We're still kind of playing around a little bit, and we play a little house party where I'm living. And Paul Castile from Impatient Youth, Black Athletes, Touch Me Hooker, he is there, and he's like, you guys are really, really good. And I've known him for a while, and he actually asked me to join a band that he's got going on, and I jump in with those guys, and we call ourselves House of Wheels, and that's where things really take off with being kind of like the little darlings at the time, mid '80s in San Francisco, and development deal with A&M Records and management. So I got a little taste of that, and that all. I forgot the question. Where am I? Am I supposed to tell you? You want to know?
No, this is great. Yeah, I wanted to kind of know the origins of like how, and I guess and maybe this would be a big jump forward, but yeah, like from that, how did you end up here in Utah?
All right, so House of Wheels falls apart, and I end up moving down to Southern California and start working on post-production for television shows like Tales from the Crypt, Walker Texas Ranger. Doing that kind of stuff, like assistant editing stuff, and also ADR direction. But it's not for me. So I run away, and I'm going to go north. I'm going to get a job at a ski resort. I don't know to do. I just want to snowboard at that point. I just want to get away from everything. And after scrubbing toilets for one season, next season I become an instructor, and then I moved down to Salt Lake. Hook up with a friend of mine, John Lee, may he rest in peace. And we started a band out here.
Cool.
And we are Mountain Meadow Massacre.
Oh, perfect.
And we play shows around down here. We we tracked some songs and made a cassette, and that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. And it was straight up punk rock. It was great. It was great. And then everything kind of grew out of that. After that, it was Stealing Candy, and that's how I met Mark Dorwart, and he was a guitar player in that. And then he bowed out or whatever, and then I think the one after that, then he came back and we started doing Punta de Bill. I think that's the timeline. Whoa, I've never done the timeline before.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sure.
That's fascinating.
A lot of drama in between all that shit.
I'm sure. Yeah, well, I'm sure lots of personalities and a lot going on. Yeah, that's fascinating. That's really cool. That's really cool. Well, because one thing I find really fascinating about your music is it's hard, like I said, I really love it a lot. And somebody asked me, because I told somebody, I think it was my brother or somebody, said, hey, you got to check out this band WEY, they're really cool. And he said, oh, what do they like? And I said, I don't know how I would explain them. I like your description. I like the band's description, what you guys call yourself, punk rock boogie. I think that's a perfect description of what you are. But I said, I said to him, like, well, they don't sound necessarily like anybody in particular, but I think if you, like, I get some similar vibes. I don't think they sound like these bands, but I get similar vibes from like the Minutemen and Firehose and Meat Puppets, sort of like that, I guess, a little bit. But then there's also Rolling Stones and, like just kind of straightforward rock and roll. Like, I don't like, it's just rocking. It's like, I don't know what, just listen to it. You'll love it. So.
First album is the Stones on steroids or something.
Yeah.
With some New York Dolls kind of feel thrown in there, but it's all over the place also. Then the second album is definitely kind of all over the place. Where the first track, help me here,
Sunday Drive.
Sunday Drive. That's me trying to write a Roxy Music song.
Oh, interesting.
Which is not even like a Roxy Music song, right? But it starts that way. Or like the first song on side 2, the Just Out of Range. That's I had been listening to at that time the new Queens of the Stone Age album.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, all right, and it just started blending out, and I'm thinking this is kind of a Stone Agey kind of riff, things are just always different. Or Bus Stop Boys, that's definitely Iggy Pop, the Idiot kind of a song,
Yeah.
Everything, like I get inspired by something, and I feel like I'm like writing towards that, but it never comes out that way. It comes out even much more beautiful and interesting. But you got to start somewhere. You start somewhere.
Right. Oh, I love the fact that I think that's interesting. It's interesting talking with musicians about their writing, because there's some musicians where like I don't listen to anything when I'm writing music. I don't listen to any. Whereas it sounds like you're listening to lots of stuff and not afraid to say like, oh yeah, this totally inspired me. This is why I did this song. I wasn't necessarily trying to sound exactly like that, but that's what I was kind of going for. Where, I've talked to other musicians like, oh yeah, I don't listen to anything because I don't want to be influenced.
Everybody's got their own different style and way of writing, If muse visits, I got to keep going with it, got to find out where that's going to take me. And it might be just hearing something on the radio on my drive home, and I'm like, oh, I got an idea. Okay, play around with that.
Nice.
I'm not ashamed to say that, because inspiration comes from everywhere. And I think you actually talk to, I'm sorry, I don't mean like you directly, but many artists are inspired. They have so many inspirations, they don't even know where they come from.
Right. Yeah. A lot of subconscious, I'm sure, you don't even realize, that you've, a certain lick or a certain phrase, is.
Recently, I can't say exactly what it was, but I heard something and went, "Oh, that's where I got that vocal idea," and it was like completely out of left field, out of nowhere. I hadn't heard the song in years, so
Yeah. Interesting.
it's buried and then they come out.
Do you, you mentioned, driving home, when listening to the radio or whatever, and are you one of those musicians where you have to pull over the car really quick and like sing into your phone or something? So you're like, okay, so I don't forget this melody that popped in my head.
Um, I don't have to pull over the car, but there are some times where I've got like, "Oh, that's an idea," and I'll throw it on the phone. Um, but not a lot. It's usually I'm just repeating it over and over in my head until I get to a pen and paper.
Mm.
Down, but that doesn't always translate so well. A few days later, like, what did those words? What was
Yeah. What the hell is this?
that?
Yeah. That's pretty cool though.
I can appreciate that dictation to really get it right.
Right. Yeah. 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 I've talked to a few people where they'll like, yeah, like be walking down the street and start singing into their phone because they're like, oh, I've got this idea and I don't want to lose it. So, they'll record it right then.
I mean, what's the most famous one, or one of the most famous is Paul McCartney's "Scrambled Eggs."
Mm,
Yesterday,
yeah.
scrambled eggs. That's what I read or heard.
Yeah, that's right. It was scrambled eggs.
Once again, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. So.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So I'm gonna switch gears again, like very much so. So we talked a little bit about, especially, some broken bones a couple times with skateboards. So I wanted to ask you, you run what's called Spock's Skate Camp.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you'd talk a little bit about that and what that is and how that came about and kind of what the details are there.
Sure. So I run a skate camp for kids. We just had our 20th year anniversary, started in 2003. Work with park and rec departments up and down the Wasatch Front. There's so many skate parks up and down in this area that just put these programs together. It's we have like a June session, a July session, an August session. Like Mondays are at one location, Tuesday is another, so on and so on through the week. And they just keep repeating, and session one's done, and session two. Kids are 6 to 16 years old. And I got a great staff with me. And it's always changing year after year because people move on. And I even have former students that are all grown up now that are coaching.
Oh, that's
so that's always a nice little attaboy, type of thing. I just love teaching. I love teaching snowboarding. I love teaching skateboarding. I really love teaching the skateboard thing because this one is mine. I'm not under the umbrella of anybody else. And to watch what a kid can do on day one and what they're doing at the very end is just mind blowing.
Oh, I bet.
So quickly. Absorbent minds are just fantastic. The parents are just so great, and this is really a word of mouth kind of a thing. Last year we taught almost 700 kids.
Wow.
We also have adults. We have the Sisterhood of Shred.
Oh, cool.
All female, and we got moms and daughters and teens and tweens that are all skating together. Female empowerment.
That's really cool.
It's just great. It's just great. And those are my summers. SpockSkateCamp.com. That's the website.
Okay, nice.
For it. The Sisterhood is free. It's every other Sunday. We start on Mother's Day, and it's held at the West Valley Skate Park down here from 9 to 11. We got skateboards and pads and helmets for everybody.
Oh, wow. So you provide all the equipment too. Wow, that's great.
The Sunday one is great. Yeah, they're all great, but we really get a kick out of that one because it's just us giving back to the community. Just passion.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, and also just that type of community building too, I think is really important, especially in this day and age.
Yes.
You know, with especially with kids, with you know, not to rag on the computer age, but I mean, yeah, there's just so many, you know, I mean, I'm guilty of, you know, looking at my phone too often too, but you know, it's nice to see the, you know, especially it's really cool to hear that, yeah, I mean, you taught 700 people last year alone. That's fantastic. That's really cool to hear that you've got all these people getting outside, learning at, you know, learning something fun, you know, having a good time, meeting new people. Sure, it's, you know, a lot of diversity, I would imagine as well, which is great.
Exactly, and it's all inclusive, and we love that this, you know, you're building, the kids are building new friendships and self-esteem, and they're learning, you know, growth mindset. They're learning how to commit to something and follow through. It's just great character development for these kids.
Yeah, that's great. That's really cool. Yeah. I applaud you for that. That's awesome. That is great. That is very cool. Well, Spock, this has been an absolute pleasure and an honor chatting with you. Thank you so very much. Um, for those of you watching, you know, definitely check out WEY. Go buy this album right now. There are links in the description below where you can check out WEY, check out their Bandcamp. I'll have their Bandcamp page, as well as, you know, Facebook, and then also check out Spock's Skate Camp. The website will be there too. And yeah, and I don't is the I don't know, is the Untitled album still available? Is it probably sold out now?
I think I have a baker's dozen left.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, 12 people should get their hands on that right, or 13 people should get their hands on that right now. Like, yeah, get on
And
Bandcamp and email you.
if people want to buy these records, you know, the newest one is available at all, most of your local independent stores that are out here in Salt Lake. Or you can, you know, DM me on Facebook, and we can set something up and get them to you, as well as the first album. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool. And also, I believe the well, I know for a fact the Jingoes, there's a Bandcamp page as well. You can check out the Jingoes as well.
There is. That one is still up and alive. Yeah. Every once in a while we get some fans on that. I'm like, oh my God, somebody's listening to that stuff. So.
Yeah, great stuff on there. Yeah, Black Jesus, great song. Yeah, very cool stuff.
That song. Oh my God. That the joke is that was okay, so it's not a joke. That song was written after I was reading. I got R. Crumb's Book of Genesis, illustrated Book of Genesis. It's great. You know, Robert Crumb, right?
Yeah.
So I read through all that, and I'm finding all these great lines, and they're straight out of the Book of Genesis, right? He didn't fudge anything. And I'm finding all these great lines, and Barack Obama becomes president, and I'm going to kind of blend together this whole Black Jesus idea and with these lyrics and stuff. So anyhow, that's kind of where that one.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, great stuff. That's great stuff. That's very cool. Well, again, thank you so much, Spock. This has been a blast. And again, everybody watching, yeah, check out WEY, WEY, on Facebook and Bandcamp, and yeah, killer stuff. Yeah, great, just really cool punk rock and roll, wonderful melodies, wonderful harmonies, just killer stuff.
You said it right there. It's punk rock and roll is what I'm feeling. It really is. You know, this is accessible for anyone. It's you know, check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Definitely check it out.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, you have a great one.
You too.